What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're talking World Rugby Team of the Decade. It's brought up a lot of debate around the world because people might not agree with certain players that they've selected. People have their own thoughts and opinions of the squad. Let's put it this way, it's a great squad. On paper, phenomenal, but I have a few question marks with certain selections that they have done. And also, how do you define a team of the decade? Now obviously we're probably going 2010 to 2020. Now we've seen players come and go. We've seen legends end their careers early in the decade. We've seen legends end their careers late in the decade. We've also seen new blood being formed and created so many special moments in the sport we know and love. So it's bound to create a stir and a debate, and this is something 2 Cents Rugby and I are full on agreement with. It's a very tough video to make because, one, we're not creating videos to disappoint anyone or to show disrespect for the teams. We're going from our thoughts and opinions of who we select, but obviously you and I might be in a disagreement, or we might think this guy should go, or the other way around, or you could completely disagree with me, or I could completely disagree with you. It's a very tough thing to do, create a team of the decade, and I did it early in January. And one thing's for sure is, how do you define a team of the decade? Now obviously we've seen the likes of the Brianna Driscolls and all these phenomenal players enter the squads for Ireland and create so much history, but do they qualify as a team of the decade? Now before you guys go at me, I know Brianna Driscoll, greatest rugby player in the world, but if we look at what we've seen from 2010 to 2020, my thoughts are you go from the guys who've given so much in the year. For example, World Rugby went for Bismarck du Plessis at number 2. Now, I'm a South African. You'd think I would do the same, but I actually went with Dan Coles. Why did I go with Dan Coles? Well, Bismarck du Plessis retired in 2015 from international rugby. Therefore, there were another 5 years that were still going on, where Dan Coles just continued to show his strength, his ability, the trophies that he's won, the caliber that he's played at. Yes, I know he's not everyone's favourite player if you're not a New Zealander, because sometimes he can get a little bit in the vicious side, but whether you like him or not, phenomenal player. So that's one part where I've gone in. I went for Alan Wynne-Jones rather than the Sam Whitelock, just from a Wales point of view of what Alan Wynne-Jones did for the Welsh Rugby Union, and from a leadership point of view, in good times and in bad, I thought he stood out. He deserves positions there. I must say, I've got no complaints with Sergio Parisi. I think he's given so much to Italian rugby, and he's just remarkable in every aspect. And again, acknowledging these guys who have stuck through their team in the decade, through good times and in bad. We all know Italy have had their ups and downs, but they've also in Six Nations not really been on a winning streak. But for a player like that to always stand out, he deserves acknowledgement and he deserves the respect that he's been given. So not too much in disagreement. Richie McCall, player of the year, player of the decade, phenomenal player, best player in the world. No argument there. He would be my captain as well. Dan Carter I went with. Again, Danny Boy is just remarkable. Again, another player we could debate with of leaving in, but the impact that he had in 2015 and the World Cups to win it, it was just remarkable. It was outstanding what his achievement did, and his story of defeating injury and coming back and winning the World Cup, remarkable. And what he'd done in the sport is just outstanding. So for me, Dan Carter's a no-brainer. Brian Banner, another player who did leave in, obviously in 2015 after the Rugby World Cup. But again, the impact that Brian had in South Africa over the time, from 2011 to 2015, he still stood out, he still shone, he was still there, he was still scoring tries. So for me, no argument there. Nonu, again, this is a constant debate that people will agree to disagree on. I would have personally gone with Owen Farrell, and I did go with Owen Farrell in my squad, and I know I got a bit of flack for picking Owen over Nonu. Again, Nonu is pure class. But when I look at England, when I look at Owen Farrell, I know he's the Farrell tackle king, I know that, but you know what he's achieved for a team as a player, as an individual, as a fly-off, a centre. I put him as my centre. He can really do it all, and when he's on form, and he's a brute strength who we need to watch out for. So for me, Again, no disrespect to Warner. I know he's one of the greatest centres in world rugby, but for me, I would have gone for him. And this brings me to another centre debate. Is you've got Brianna Driscoll, Bod, the greatest rugby player in the history of Ireland rugby. Remarkable, a legend. But again, he did retire early in the decade. Does he qualify? For me, again, I'm going to Wales. Jamie Roberts, one of the pure class, outstanding players for Wales as a centre, probably one of the best in the world at one stage in this decade for a year or two or so. He stood out, he's determined, he's passionate, he's phenomenal. So for me, I would have maybe gone with him over Brianna Driscoll. And again, guys, please don't feel I'm jabbing at your players. I love these guys, and I really do, but just my thoughts. World Rugby's got their thoughts. You've also got your thoughts. And another one, just to continue as we sign off on the summary, because pretty much not far off. Ben Smith I've got in, but instead of I would have had him, instead of George North, I would have put him as my wing, and I would have brought in Beauden Barrett as my fullback, just from the impact that Beauden Barrett's had from the time he was found to where he is now. Remarkable player. I think he's outstanding, and he would be in my squad. And then last but not least, to debate on is, and this is a tough one for me, because if you've been watching me for a while, you know, my favourite international rugby player in the world right now, Conor Murray. World Rugby Team of the Decade selected Conor Murray as number 9. As much as I am happy with that decision, and I'll go with Aaron Smith, we cannot forget the accomplishments this kid has done in this past decade. And I know you're going like, G-Man, you're going all Blacks. But guys, we're not talking about this present day when the All Blacks have had a few hiccups. We're talking of the dominance of a team that has been world number 1 for a decade. Come on. And whether you like it or not, you've got to give the credit. 2 World Cups in the decade. You've got to have more All Blacks than the South Africans, or the English, or the Irish, or the Scottish, or the French. You know, there's a whole list. And again, it's a tough one. I would have gone Aaron Smith. But again, love Conor Murray. Big respect to the man. And again, just going on fullback debate, you could also bring in Stuart Hogg from Scotland. Another remarkable player, stood up for his team. And like I said with Sergio Parisi, or even Alan Wynne-Jones, Stewie Hogg has been a phenomenal ambassador for Scottish rugby, and he's stood out in every occasion. Yes, he's had his falls every now and then, but who hasn't? So for me, Stewie Hogg's another outstanding bloke who deserves credit. But rightly so. It's a tough one to debate on, but that's going to do it for my one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And again, please don't feel offended. It's all respect and love to both teams. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.